All right. Hello. Good evening. Good morning. Today we have a special conversation with one of our clients in BBA program. His name is Sui, and he has grown his business from zero to $1,000 a day. And before he started with e-commerce, he was laid off from his previous job, and he just decided to go on a journey to build his own business, control his own destiny, and we'll be having conversation with him, and we'll be learning from everything that he's learned so far with his business, and all of the mistakes that he made, all of the things that he's learned throughout this journey, so that every one of you guys can benefit from it. So Sui went from being laid off from his previous job to um, making good money with e-commerce, and now he's on track to just absolutely change his life. And I'll be asking him like a lot of questions about his journey, about his background. You guys can also drop the questions for him in the chat, so I can pass those questions to him, ask him those questions. I have a bunch of questions on my own that I want to ask, but would love to learn from him and share with you guys. Hey, Sui, can you hear me?
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Good, moment. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Having a great day so far.
Awesome, awesome. It was awesome meeting you in Budapest.
Yeah, it was awesome being there. All the connections, meeting you in person. Like I said, it honestly didn't feel real. It's all happening so fast, but I'm really grateful. I'm really happy to be here as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I would love to dive into your story and just learn more about, because I think it's very like inspirational, and our team is like, this guy will do some amazing things. They shared with me so many times that
Yeah.
you're a special human being. So yeah, I would love to learn about your story, about the main things you learned so far. The things that kind of the mindset shifts that you've had, so that people watching can also learn from those, and change their own lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can just kind of take you back to November of last year, which is when this all really happened. I was working in sales and marketing. I was working in like a software sales company. And essentially, I was obviously doing a lot of work. It was corporate. I was up every day sending out hundreds of emails for my boss and everything like that, trying to get clients. And I remember one day I was up until 3 a.m. and the next morning, my boss wasn't really happy. And then he told me, he was like, "Oh, Sui, what are you doing with your time?" And I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I'm sending emails out for you all night, doing things, calling clients, all of this stuff. But when he said that, it kind of triggered something in my head. I was like, you know what? What am I kind of doing with my time? In a sense. So it's
Mm,
like, am I wasting time? Am I just staying here wasting my potential? So when that happened, it kind of just put another gear in my back to find something of my own, because I didn't really feel like this was secure or that I was really being appreciated where I was at. So funny enough, the guy that was working next to me, he was working with me, his name is Brett. He actually told me about you. He said he had a business, he had sold it for a couple 100,000, and then he also was in e-commerce. He was making about 100,000 a month. So when he said this, I was like, Brett, like, why are you working? He just, he likes to work too. He just does a lot of stuff. But it was kind of like that Wolf on Wall Street moment. It was like, oh, show me you make 70K, I'll quit my job right now. And Jordan Belfort. So she told me it, and I believed him, and I saw it as well. So when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to take some time just to think, get my mind right, really see if this is the opportunity for me. I went on vacation for 2 weeks. I came back. The day I came back, I was laid off. So,
Oh shit.
yeah. When that happened, it was crazy, but I told my boss, I was like, you know what, Samir, like, I thank you so much. This is very aligned. This is the push that I needed to get to that next level. So I talked to Brett. Brett told me to watch a couple of videos from you on YouTube, and I was watching them during December and January. But I knew that I needed something a little bit more hands-on. I knew I just needed a little bit more structure, because I didn't want to waste too much time. I was going all in. I said I wasn't going back to the 9 to 5, and I was just going to make this work. So I joined. I joined BBA, and then I think I joined in March, and from there I was just meditating. I was visualizing. I was working on my subconscious mind. I think Merrick talked about it, and just
Mm.
seeing myself succeed, seeing everything work out before it actually started to work out. So from March, I joined the group. I was Amadou was my coach. I also worked with Bukumi. a little bit. And I just was, I don't know how to say, I was just grinding, man. Like I turned off the TV, I closed the windows, everything. And I went to work and I was just sharpening the sword for about 2 months, I think 2-3 months. And then in May 17th, I launched the store. And ever since then, it's just been going up, crazy, pretty good numbers so far, I think. And, I joined ESS. I actually got promoted to ESS in August, and I've just been learning a little bit more from Richie, from Siri, from the whole team, and taking what I can. And it's been amazing, man. I mean, I can't thank you enough for this program. It really changed my life, and it was everything so far. And then, of course, I met you in Budapest in September, and that was surreal, as I said. So,
Man.
Yeah, that's kind of the story right there.
Where are you from? Like, where do you live?
Yeah, so I'm from New York, born and raised. My parents are from Nigeria. That's where my roots are, but I'm from New York, born and raised. And I currently live in Philadelphia right now. So I have my own apartment in Philadelphia. That was actually another thing. Like when I left my job, I wanted to increase the pressure that I had on myself, because I feel like sometimes you can get too comfortable, especially living at home with your parents. They may not see the vision that you have, so you kind of have to separate from them, because, I believe in energy a lot, and you have to be surrounded by people who really believe in you and your vision. Otherwise, I think it won't go as well. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to really go all in with this stuff. Like I'm going to get my own apartment, which I'm in right now, as you see. I'm just going to leave my job and I'm just going to figure it out. And I trusted myself. I trusted my ability to learn. And now we're here. So
was that your first like business like experience?
Yeah, essentially. I hadn't really done anything before. I used to sell sneakers out of my house when I was younger. Like I thought that was a little business to the kids on the block. But I hadn't really done anything before. So I was brand new to e-commerce, brand new to just learning the whole thing. And I started learning really in March once I got to BBA. And then from there, I started scaling. So.
Man, that's awesome. And like when so before you got into this, like, I mean, it was kind of, I think the timing has aligned for you where like something clicked for you that you saw that like the journey that you were on, like will not necessarily lead you to fulfilling your full potential.
Yeah.
Like at the same time, like, did you have like any kind of like hesitations, for example, when you first like joined the program, like, cause I think it's a big leap of faith, right? Like you don't have anything to kind of like prove that like, okay, yeah, it's somehow possible for other people. It seems like kind of like other people are doing it somehow and making good money and like building, freedom for themselves. But at the same time, I see that a lot of people, they have this like self-doubt.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like, yeah, maybe this guy can do it because, or this lady can do it because like they had like 1, 2, 3 kind of like circumstances and I'm in a different shoes. And I'm like, kind of like making all these reasons, like why they personally cannot make it. Like, did you have any of those, like, did you have any of that, like self-doubt or kind of like hesitations? And then obviously investing in yourself, investing in the program, which is also like a big, leap of faith. Like, did you have any of that?
Yeah. I think, it's very common to have self-doubt a lot of times. And I think I did in the beginning a bit. And I was a little worried, just, as I said, I had to, pay for the program. I had to invest in myself. I was also dealing with bills for the apartment, things like that. It just felt like a whole lot of pressure and doubt. I wasn't really sure in the beginning, but like I said, what I did to handle that. And I even wanted to talk about it a little bit more. This book, it was called 3 Magic Words by U.S. Anderson. And it really just talks about how you have to really see it in your head first. Like you have to see yourself succeeding. Most of those people, they're seeing themselves fail and they're seeing themselves not do so well. And that's usually why it transpires. I believe like whatever you truly believe in your heart, that's what will, happen. So if you're just as easily as you see yourself doing bad, you can see yourself doing good. You're just a slight reversal in the mind. So when you do that, then, everything else will start to take care of itself. So I was just, like I said, I was meditating probably 20 minutes a day, every day or every other day, visualizing maybe 10 minutes at night. I would just go to bed even thinking about, I'm like, oh, the sales are coming in. There are no sales, but I'm just like, oh, I can see it in my email. I'm getting all these, the Ring, the Shopify dinging and all this, I'm hearing it and everything like that. But
What's
that
a book?
kind of
What's a
really,
book again? Can you share it like for people?
yeah. It's called Three Magic Words by U.S. Anderson. So it talks about the power of your mind to create good and also create, bad as well. Whether like kind of whether you know it or not, we're using it. But this just helps you formulate the way to see yourself, the way to, see your reality and kind of alter it, all just using your mind in a sense. So that's what
Wow.
that's what really eliminated the doubt. It even talks about doubt in the book and how you have to be 100% certain. You have to be like all in. Don't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like, no, if I say this is going to work, it's going to work. I remove all doubt from my head and all of this. I mean, it's easier said than done. That's where the meditation and visualization comes in, where you just sit down and you keep programming into your mind that you will succeed, and then you'll start to slowly see it happen or manifest in reality, I guess. So
Wow,
that's kind of
this
how
is
it's.
insane. And that's, like, I mean, you've been at the event, right? You've seen all of these like entrepreneurs, and
Yeah.
I've had conversations like just behind the scenes with for example, Simone, he's like when he started e-commerce, like Simone, like one of our clients. I mean, he's like in August he did like 5.7 million a month, with his e-commerce business. And I had a conversation with him, like, when he first started, like for the first like 2 years, he was basically struggling. He
Mhm.
didn't have like a lot of traction, but he also had this belief, and he also like he basically cut all of the other options for himself, right? He knew that like if he doesn't make it work, there's like not many options for him. So it's like his back was against the wall,
Exactly.
and at the same time he believed that this is possible. And obviously surrounding himself with the right community, surrounding himself with a good environment of people that are also like growth oriented and just wanted to fulfill their full potential. But it's like it's a common thread that I see where like everything, like all the businesses, like initial, like you think about Amazon, like things that we use every day, like Facebook, Instagram, like all of these businesses, like this started from someone just having a random fucking idea in their
Right.
mind, right? But they believed that it's possible, and they like pursued that idea relentlessly, like through all of the obstacles, through all of the like constraints, through all of these things, like, and just like made that idea into reality. And
Yeah.
that's why like even like iPhone, like, I mean,
Right.
these things that we use this thing like without even thinking that like things like this started with someone just having an idea and having a belief, and then
Mhm.
just pursuing that like religiously day after day. But it all starts here.
Exactly. And that's so true. I even like even just to take it a step further, I say that about everything. I mean, like even this chapstick, this notebook, everything was all originally a thought, and every thoughts create things, and then they come about. But it's like you're gonna have those doubts, you're gonna have those failures, like you're gonna have those mistakes that happen along the way. But can you keep the faith? To me, that's the test. Is like, can you keep the faith? Can you stay positive throughout every situation that happens, knowing that it's all for your ultimate evolution? Every obstacle, I'm sure even you can attest probably through your story, every obstacle that you face, when you look back on it now, it was like, oh, I actually needed that. It made me stronger. It made me tougher. It made me realize or see certain things from a different perspective. It's all necessary, the good and the bad. You can't have one without the other. So you need it all. But
100%.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely now all those guys that Steve Jobs, everything like that. It all just started in their mind, and now it's something that changed the whole world. So it starts with one guy with a vision. He believes in himself, and then so it shall be. That's it. It's kind of
Man,
crazy, yeah.
that's awesome. So do you remember what did it feel like when you had your first sale?
Oh
Yeah.
God, man, I was in the room. I was dancing. I was like, "Oh, this is real." I just I heard the Shopify ding. It was like ring. I was like, cash. I was like, "This is cash on my phone. This is crazy." When I had it was just a sense of really euphoria because you put in so much work. You're having calls with the coaches every week. You're refining your scripts. You're refining your copies. All of this stuff, and you know making the list of products, the product research, the website development. I mean, I was up some nights I wouldn't even sleep, and I'll be up really early in the morning, cold showers, whatever you need to just get through the day and just focus. And then you actually see the work working. You see things happening for you, and you hear the noises and it's like the money's coming in. It just, like I said, it doesn't feel real at first, but it's an amazing feeling. I'm a little more calmer now when I hear the noises, but in the beginning, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like the first time. It's just, yeah, it's amazing, but it's possible. That's all you have to believe. Like throughout the whole time, it's possible.
And how was your family like? So you kind of like, most parents they I mean in US, I mean in other countries I think as well. It's like there's a typical path that there's obviously some entrepreneurs. Is your family like entrepreneurial?
My dad is, but the rest of them, no. Just really my dad. He has his own construction business, so he
Uh-huh.
kind of had that, yeah, in him as well. But
Do you think like some of the experiences you've had like kind of like helped you like shape like your kind of like perspective on business and like the challenges that that he was dealing with? Like, do you think that was kind of giving you some perspective?
mm, uh, the challenge is I don't know because when I was born, I mean I'm 25 years old, so when I was born, he already had it kind of up and running, and I didn't really get to experience the build up of it.
Hmm.
But what I did realize from him is like I knew the job wouldn't be enough. I knew like I was going to continuously hit a signal, or there was going to be someone constantly telling me what to do. And I saw the freedom that he had. So that always inspired me.
Hmm.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, I have to get to this point. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I have to get here because I know working at this job isn't going to bring me what I actually want in this world. I could lie to
Hmm.
myself, but I want more for myself. I want more for my family and the kids that come from me. So it's just like I had to find a vehicle that could bring me there, and that was e-commerce essentially.
Hmm.
But yeah, and even like I think you asked about how my family was. It's kind of funny. I was kind of scared to tell them that I got laid off after a few weeks. I didn't really When it happened, I didn't really tell them. I just started to learn a little bit more about e-commerce. And then
Sure.
eventually I told them, I was like, you know what, guys, hey, I got laid off, but listen, I got a plan. And it's gonna be crazy. Just trust me. I know it's not real right now, but it's very real to me, and it's gonna happen. And at first they didn't really see it. Like anything you're telling someone a vision, they don't really see it. They don't necessarily believe in it, or they're telling you, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if this, there's so many obstacles. This is kind of psyching you out. That's one of the reasons I had to really get away from them. Not because I hate
Mm.
them. I love them, but it's just like you have to be around a certain environment where you can grow and prosper and people can pour into you. And if you can't find those environments, then you have to get alone, which is what
Yeah.
I did because I couldn't really find that type of environment from them. So at the time, they're very supportive in other things, but with like things that are risky, most families they're kind of risk advert. They don't want to really they want to play it safe. So I had to get alone. I had to really study and work, and now it's going well. And now they want to do e-commerce. So it's like a full circle moment. It's like you didn't see it at first, but now you want to do it. But that's how it always goes. I love it regardless.
Yeah, man. I remember when I was working in a factory, like I was working in a factory and then I just had also like this like pivotal moment where I just decided, fuck, I don't want to do this. Like
Yeah.
it just like for the rest of my life. And like one way or another, I'll figure it out. Like and I had no English, I had no skills, like literally like nothing. And then, but then, having conversations with my parents, they always saw me as a, yeah, just get a job, like be in the factory, then kind of like maybe get some like better skills, get a better job, in the factory or like somewhere else, and like just work for the rest of your life, and then retire hopefully. And so when I started, I didn't tell them that I quit the job.
Yeah.
And first, like, I mean, first like 6 months were like brutal. Like I was just living, like I had a few dollars like saved, so I was just like very like conscious like with my spending, just and like literally down to my last like few $100s until the business started to pick up. And I didn't tell them any of that because I didn't want to deal with
Mm-hmm.
with them like, oh, it's like just like why you like why you quit the job, like get another job. And like, and I only told them that I quit the job on the factory. I was already a millionaire.
Yeah.
I made my first like my first million. And then I told them, and they were like, oh, you quit your job? Like, why you quit? And I, and yeah, that was like I think in most cases, it's yeah, you have to be very conscious about the information that you take from other people. Even like those people might be the closest to you, and they might, I mean, they have no bad intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their vision for your life, or their vision of what the life could be different from what you see. Because like I mean, we're exposed to like totally different things that they
Right.
were exposed to, like the information, the technology, the business opportunities, like the internet, the social media, like all of the things that we have access now.
Yeah.
They simply did not have access to that when they were growing up, and so they
Right.
they can't comprehend like the amount of opportunity we have these days. And I think in those situations, the best thing to do is just follow your heart. If you believe it inside of your heart that this is
Mhm.
possible, you can make it happen, just pursue it. Because then, like, once you become successful, you can also support them, you can retire them if you want. Like, I mean, there's so many things you can do, like, once you make the business successful.
Yeah.
But you simply won't get to that stage if you just take everything they take seriously, especially they don't have the same access to information as you do.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was a quote. It's like, if you want to make sure you fail, ask everyone what to do. So it's like, if you're taking, taking too much information, too much noise in a sense, and you're not, listening to that inner voice, or, carving out your own path, then you certainly won't get to where it is that you truly want to go. You'll end up somewhere, but maybe not where you really wanted to go. So it's very important. Yeah, you have to watch going into your head, and it can come from those that you really like. Usually it does. It will come closest because they're closest to you, so it will come from them, the people that you really love. And you just have to make sure, is this adding to me, or is this taken away from my vision? And if it's taken away, you have to go away a bit. But that's just it. You have to. There's no in between. It's not like, oh, maybe no. It's just like, it's a certainty. It's like, is this adding to me, or is this taken away from me? And if it's taken away, then I have to get away. Just a bit.
How did you have any, like, in our industry, there's a lot of information, sometimes contradictory information, and some people say, like, oh, like, let's say drop shipping is a scam, e-commerce is a scam, it's like it's saturated, it's like there's no, like, oh, it's like, yeah, if you got in like 10 years ago, yeah,
Yeah.
you could make something happen. Like, did you have any of those kind of like perspectives? Like, did you think about any of that, or you just like, yeah, how did you, like, did you go through any of those kind of like things in your mind?
The scarcity. I mean, yeah, I think, and sorry, not scarcity, but the saturation aspect. I don't think I really thought too much of that. I mean, I knew it was more live. Like, I knew people who got rich from e-commerce during like 2020, during, I guess, the gazebo years or something like that. Even during like crypto had a year like that, or a few years where things were just so, I guess, easy, or just it was much easier to make money at that time. But I didn't really think too much of it. I think it was more of a testament to my friend Brett from my old job. Like I said, I was working, November, December, and then he just told me he sold his business. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Like, how much did you make? He's like, yeah, I make 100K a month. I was like, doing what? He's just like, oh, e-commerce. I was like, okay, so if this is really possible and he's telling me he's doing this, then how saturated could this? I mean, 100K, I'll take 50K. I'll take, anything a little bit more. But yeah, he told me that. So I didn't really think too much of it. I had heard rumors about, like, oh, it's a little harder now. And so, but I don't want to hear all that. I just want to, if it's possible and there's other men and women doing it, then I know it's possible for me, regardless of the time or the situation. It's just like, hey, people are doing it. There are people still making millions in e-commerce, 7, 8, 9 figures. I can carve a little, piece of the pie out for myself as well here.
For sure. And it's like, if you think about it, like, it's like, if you consume that information, if you believe it, it's like, then
Mhm.
it's like, then it, like, the same way the good things manifest, the same things manifest. Like, everything's saturated, everything's so hard. Then, like, oh yeah, the product is saturated, the product died. People say, like, it's like all of these, like, layers and layers and layers of, like, this, like, limiting beliefs that people impose on themselves,
Mhm.
especially if they go on Reddit or something. They go on Reddit and it's like, oh yeah, yeah, it's just, don't do it. It's that. It's like, it's game over, right? But then, like, you look at, like, okay, what the actual fucking data says, and you look in
Yeah.
the data. It's multi-trillion-dollar industry. It's growing year over year. Some businesses cannot make it because they're not innovating fast enough. They're like, don't bring anything new to the market. But the people that are, like, actually on top of their stuff and constantly innovating and learning and becoming better, those
Mhm.
people crush in any environment. And
Right.
I think, like, being very selective, where you're taking the same as with with parents and with friends. The same as with, like forums, like Instagram, like who you're learning from. Like it is it is so crucial, because like then you start believing what you consume, and
Hmm.
then becomes your reality.
Exactly. So true. Yeah, you have to really, really. I think that's the most crucial part. Like people call it a mental diet. Like you have to really watch what you think and what you're taking in. This could, not just food and stuff, but also what you're listening to, what you're hearing, what people are telling you. Because you will start to believe it, and it will just add on to the already doubts that you have against yourself. And then it would just be, okay, I guess I can't do it. Everyone's saying it so hard. I don't really believe it, and then it won't really happen. So you have to really just take a stand that, I'm gonna do this. If there are people still doing it, I can do it as well. It's possible for It's possible for him. It's possible for me. That's just what I really believe.
For sure. How was your experience in BBA so far?
Man, it was everything, and like I was. It's just like I don't think I would have honestly. I've seen other interviews and some people, say stuff, but I don't think I would have been here without it. So I'm really grateful for you to put it together. I'm really grateful for all of the coaches and the trainings and the lessons and classes. You know, Omid, everybody is just like work every day. They're showing up. Every day, everyone is showing up. It's organized. We're doing our classes at the same time every day. The teachers are there. No one is, BSing. Everyone is just doing their work. Everyone is trying to make a better life for themselves. And, usually everyone does if you just put in the work. But it's been incredible. It was the exact tool resource that I needed. It was worth, you know, the money. It was worth everything. You already make back the money, once you apply it. It's nothing, but it was worth everything. It was the structure, it was the support system I needed. Any questions I had, I don't think I would have moved this. Like maybe at this time, I would have just launched my website
Oh,
if I didn't go to, I didn't go to BBA. But it's like with BBA, I was able to learn how to find products. I was able to launch my website. I was able to launch my ads and continue to scale them and continue to refine them and bounce ideas off people who are already doing 7, 8 figures. And then, taking their ideas, even sharing something that they may not have been aware of. Because sometimes they're like so high up, they're almost in that
yeah.
castle and they can't really see below when you're coming through the swamps and everything like that. So it's like you'll just say, hey, this is going on Facebook. Like, oh crap, I haven't even touched my Facebook ads in like 2 years. I had someone running it for me, but yeah, so it's cool. You get to learn from so many people doing better than you, and that's important. You have to get around people who are faster than you, who are better than you. You may be a little insecure at first, but ultimately, once again, it's all for your evolution. So it was worth every dime. Even moving up to ESS in August, I remember Amadou told me, he was like, hey, like just meet with Richie. He'll say one thing, just listen. And he'll say one thing and it will 10 times your business. You just have to hear him, what he's saying, him and Siri, we hear what they're saying. And you don't even have to meet with them so much because they'll just say so much in one meeting and it will just change your whole perspective. So, BBA was great. ESS was awesome. I'm still in it right now, still learning while running the business. And yeah, it was the greatest tool. It was the best tool that I actually needed to succeed, I think. Yeah.
Have you been to any other like programs or like courses, like anything like that?
No, no.
Oh,
As I said, yeah, you guys were my first like e-commerce real vet. I mean, before then in January, I was watching a few YouTube videos and still that was you and some other people, but I didn't really like actually get to work for real until I paid for the course. Because I remember you really have to have some skin in the game. If you don't, it's gonna be easy for you to just like drift off and not really take. But when you put some money down and you're like, okay, this has to really work because I just paid the investment, and then you pay for that knowledge instead of it just being free. You may not appreciate it as much, but when you pay for it, then you can really appreciate it. And yeah, it was huge for me, honestly. It was huge.
yeah, we still like, and it's kind of like goes on every level. Like even right now, like in our business, we're spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, like on mentorships, masterminds. We go to events, like not just myself, but also people on our team,
Mhm.
because it's like never ending process. And if you can tap into someone's like knowledge and understanding and like the wisdom, like
Yeah,
that, otherwise, like, yeah, you can probably figure it out by yourself, right? But how much time it will take you, how much like
yeah,
it will cost you, like in the opportunity cost, like if you just like paid someone, bought it, pretty much buying like the shortcut to whatever you want to do. Like it's the same as like with even with a personal trainer, like, or with any other aspects of life. Like if you want
Mhm.
to get the information faster, if you want to get results faster, and also like you said, making that commitment to yourself, like by investing in yourself, by believing in yourself enough to invest, that it's kind of like a betting on yourself. And it's like, it makes so much sense, right? People go to like casino, like, and betting on something that they have no control of. You can control yourself, you can control your own behavior, like you can control what you can do with information, applying that information that can like absolutely transform your life. And it just, I think it's just like never ending, like growth process. Like
Yeah.
even like billionaires, they have coaches, they have like like Tony Robbins. I mean, he coaches billionaires. Like you would think like, yeah, billionaires, I mean, they made it. Like why they need like anyone to tell them what to do, right? But
Mhm.
getting that external perspective and having them, oh, I didn't think of, oh shit, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. You need those eyes. You need to see things that you're not seeing. You need ideas that may not be like two eyes are better than one. All that stuff. I always feel like you need a learning now. You need a mentor if you want to go fast. I mean, the roadblocks, the trial and error, you can just kind of skip all of that if you have someone who's already done it and gone ahead of you, and you can learn from them. And that was huge for me because, as I said, it was really a big bet for me because as I told you, I left my house and everything. I had never done that. So I really was like, okay, this has to work now. Like it's not next year. It's not, no, I'm not going back to corporate and this, I'm here now with all these, this has to be it. So how do I speed up this process to make sure I'm not making the same mistakes that everyone else is? You gotta get that mentorship. And I think I'll always have it. It doesn't matter how successful I get because there's always someone who's better than me, who knows more than me, and I'm humble enough to sit down and just ask questions and learn,
mm. So
regardless of what success you encounter.
what, like, so when you were working, like you mentioned, one of your co-workers, he had like e-commerce business. He kind of like inspired you. Have you shared like kind of like, or like, did you talk about like with any other people that worked in that company about like, oh, I want to do like e-commerce, or I want to like do something different? Like, did you have any of those conversations with anyone else in your company?
Uh, I think I talked to one of my other coworkers. His name was Sean. He's like 30 or something like that, and he was I was telling him like, yeah, man, I think I'm gonna leave. Like, I read this book called Three Magic Words. It just basically says if you believe in yourself, you can do it. Like, really, it seems simple, but it really just comes down to that. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna leave. I think I'm gonna try to do this e-commerce stuff. And he, as I say, it really just comes down to the mindset. I thought he was one of the smartest people I've ever met. He was like a genius. I'll have a client on the call, and he was like my technician. He would just set up things. He would spit different use cases at them, different scenarios to get them thinking. And all this, I was like, man, I used to call him the little genius, honestly. But when I told him that, he didn't really see what I was saying in that sense. Cause like, even though you may have so much potential, but if you're in like a small fishbowl or something and you don't see the whole ocean, then you will only be limited by that fishbowl. And so you can be so smart. I think he could do even better than me, but he didn't really see it like that. I think he's still at the job. So it's just, yeah, you'll talk to certain people and they'll get it. Certain people will get it. Certain people, it's hard for them to comprehend it. But yeah, that was really it. It was really just me and Brett, and I was close to Brett while I was learning. I didn't want to bother him too much because I'm someone that if I can learn it on my own, I'll just try to. Just give me a little, just throw me the alley oop, I'll go dunk the ball. That's it. Just give me a little pass or give me the information, I'll just go study it. So that was just yeah. Brett told me about it, but I told Sean about it, but he didn't really see what I was talking about. So
That's interesting because I asked this question. We had one client in ESS. He's in his 40s, and
yeah,
he worked in Los Angeles like police department. His name is Ryan. I have an interview with him on my YouTube channel. It was a few years back, and he was in his 40s, and he didn't necessarily like enjoy his job, and he decided to get like into e-commerce.
yeah,
And then he started getting traction, so he was working his job, and then his business on the side was just like making substantially more than his job. And he tried to help other people that he was working with. He shared it, there's this like opportunity, like you can go after it, like you can build a business, you can make more money. And he said, like, people were like, I have bills to pay. I have this like path, I'm going on, and then I'm going to retire, like, and kind of like the standard. And it's like, I'm like, wow, it's incredible, right? Like that, even with abundance of like resources, information, like all of the things that we have access to today, and even like with these people that might be like, the same as like with maybe not the best kind of like influence, but also with some good influence, like mindset at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't believe that this is possible, even if someone's like, literally, this is how you do it, like this is like, it's like, if mindset is not ready to accept that, if you don't see yourself as a person who can succeed with that,
Mm-hmm.
then nothing else matters. Like you give person like literally everything,
Right.
and they will not take advantage of it, and that's
Yeah.
so fascinating to me.
Yeah, you can give them the whole game. I mean, you can give them the whole sauce that people say sometimes, but it's like, if you're not ready for it, if you're not ready to accept it, I can give you whatever opportunity, but if you're not ready, then it won't succeed. Like they say, my dad always says, like, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't force the horse to drink. So it's just like,
Mm.
who's really ready for it at the time, mentally, because this is a mindset, and most people aren't, unfortunately. But those who are, they'll succeed. They'll succeed. They just need a little bit. They just need a little guidance to the water, but they'll drink once they get there. That's
For
the
sure.
deal.
What is so when you joined BBA, like more like on the tactical side, like in terms of the like choosing products to sell or like building a website, what were the biggest like mindset shifts for you, like compared to what you thought about like e-commerce, like and kind of like what makes e-commerce business work versus like what you have experienced? What were the biggest paradigm shifts for you?
Mm, I would say the first thing was, when picking a product, is like, how to find products that can sell, that are no, not that can, that are already selling, that are already, has a market, that's already, you can see that, okay, people are buying it, there's demand for this product. That was a huge thing, because I had heard about e-commerce, like, during COVID, I think like 2020, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to sell an electric skateboard, or this, like, electric scooter thing or something like that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go crazy with this. I never did it, but it wasn't the right time. I wasn't ready mentally. But I was just like, even if I would have went through it, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It didn't actually have any real demand. I was creating the demand in my head because I thought it was a hot product. In my head, I was like, "Oh, this is nice. I would ride an electric skateboard. So let's sell it." If there are people, if I like it, other people like it. But that's not necessarily e-commerce. You have to find what it is that the audience already likes, not what you like, in a sense. And then that was one of the biggest mindset shifts. I think, obviously, the website, I don't know if it was a mindset shift. I just really needed to know how to do it, and how to really build it, which I learned within the group. And then just with the ads, just constantly testing, never getting like never getting too comfortable with your ads. Even though you're doing good, eventually it will crash. And like Bakumi told me, you want to be uh not reactive, but you want to be proactive. So you want to get ahead of it before it happens. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way. So I had to learn the hard way with that, with my ads. It's just the way it is. You got to, because you just get comfortable a little bit. Everyone, every time you get to a level, you get comfortable, but then something kind of lights a fire under your butt, and you're like, okay, I gotta get back into the learning aspect of it again, and just go at it again. So that was really it. I even remember when we were in Budapest, the hat said, it was like, run more ads. The shirt said, run more ads. Like, that's the solution. So I just had to keep running more ads, keep like writing my copies, and just keep testing, because you can make a lot of money on just one ad. There was one ad I had in the beginning. It made me a lot of money, and I got comfortable with it. I was trying to make different variations, but I wasn't sourcing new creatives. I just got a little comfortable. I was working on so many other things, but not the thing I really needed to focus on, which is my marketing, for the most part. So it taught me a good lesson. Now I'm all in on marketing. I'm all in on refining and getting, potentially a copywriter and all of the stuff that I need now to help me expand. But yeah, that was really it. Just finding really products that are already selling and has a market that you didn't create in your head that actually has proven data that there's a market, and then just like continuously running new ads and trying out new angles and never getting comfortable. So
What do you think about product saturation? Do you believe in it?
no, I don't. Because like even the product that I'm selling, I mean, I don't know. Maybe don't sell like the posture corrector thing. Like I've been seeing that for 10 years. But other than that, I mean, there are certain products like if your grandma saw it a few times, like you may not want to sell it already. But for the most part, I don't believe too much in product saturation because the product that I'm selling, which I picked on the first go with Amadou, he helped me so much with that, and it was already being kind of sold by other competitors, bigger competitors, but they were selling it with a different angle. So me and Amadou, we basically tested 4 angles when I started on Facebook, 4 different angles for the product just to see which one would really resonate with the audience. And then there was one that really resonated in anti-aging. So with older audience. So that's just kind of where I went into that. That was my audience. That was like my pool of people. And I just expanded in from there. But that product is being sold by like, I think 4 or 5 competitors, but just in different ways. So I don't know. You just have to really get creative. You have to really just think of different ways that you can sell it. Because I don't really believe in too much saturation. I mean, as I said, there were maybe those 4 or 5 products that everyone knows, like the posture corrector. But other than that, I don't really believe too much in saturation. You just have to get a little creative. That's it.
What did you find? What did you find in your experience the best way to learn like copywriting and becoming good with copy?
Well, I kind of looked at other people that were successful. So I would just be on Facebook scrolling any ads that I saw that were like doing 200, 300 likes. I would just look at what are they exactly saying? How are they would say a little short description, maybe 4 bullet points, blah, 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 like really targeting the issues that people are facing or the desires that they want to get to. And then just a quick link to their thing, like go or check it out now or head here, get it now, or like 50% off, 60% off, or 60-day free trial, like things like that. Just learning, seeing what other people are doing that were already successful, and then kind of putting my own spin onto it. So that was the best way that I learned how to really write copy. And then there's trial and error. Just once you see what's working and it's working, just like picking a product, it's the same thing. And then you just kind of put it into your own words. Don't plagiarize word for word, but put it into your own words. And then just see if it really sticks with the audience. And that was it. Once I kind of found my groove from there, and then I just went from there.
Yeah. So I mean, you've had pretty fast like progression with BBA with your e-commerce business, like literally like in a few months. And I see some of the journeys of people, and sometimes it takes them like a few years to do it. Like even though they have access to resources and everything. So what do you think makes a difference between like someone like you who's just like getting that traction so much faster versus someone for whom it takes years?
Yeah, I think if you want my honest answer, Alex, and I had this situation because so many people say this, right? And even my sister talks to me like, oh, you move so fast. Like, certain people, it takes 15 products for them to actually get one that works. And you did it on your first one. Even people would message me on BBA like, hey, what is your secret? Like, what did you do? I really attest this, like the quickness of it from, like, I'm really big on meditation. I'm very big on visualization. I really attest to that. Like I said, the book, like really believing that, hey, when I do this, it's going to work. And it's not just going to work. It's going to work on the first try. Like it's going to be it. I didn't know when I was saying all this to myself, I didn't know what product I was going to get. I just trusted that there was, another source, or you can say God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, that was going to help guide me to the right thing, like an ultimate belief in myself and my ability and in the source to help guide me to the right product, to the right, the right people, to all of these things. And that's essentially what happened. I just believe that like people, get it maybe after 4 or 5 tries, because it's like they're at a point where they're like, I'm not going to give up. And at that 5th try, it's like, okay, that's when the belief is like solidified. It's like, I failed 4 times, now this fifth time, this is when I'm really gonna like hit it. Like, and they really believe it now. Maybe the first 4 or 5 times they didn't really believe, even though they said it. Because I even know in my past when I failed with other stuff, I was like, when I look back, I was like, did I, even though I was putting in work, did I actually have faith that this was going to work? Did I actually believe that it was going to work? And I could truly say, like, no, I didn't. I didn't have like actual belief in myself during those like earlier failures. So that's why I think like maybe after those first couple of failures, if you're still strong enough to not give up, then your faith gets like solidified even more. It gets to a point where it's solid. And now it's like the next one that you pick, it will work because you really believe, and it's like, it's all in now. It's, you know, no holds bar, whatever you want to call it. And that's when it happens, like on that fifth go. But certain people have that on that first go. You know, it's really a mindset thing, because that's what I think the mind really creates everything. And even your success and how soon it happens. It's only when you're mentally ready. So maybe you're ready on the first time, or maybe it takes 5 times for you to get to that point of, you know, no return, or in a sense. So that's just really what I attested to, because I don't believe I'm like smarter than anyone. I don't believe I'm like, I didn't really have crazy grades. You know, maybe when I applied myself and really studied for a test, but other than that, I was like a average cool student, whatever. But I wasn't in like advanced classes or anything. So I just think it was like an ultimate belief in almost a delusion almost in myself. So that's what I think helped me
Delu-
get moving faster.
Delusional. So I mean, initially, it's like it's like you said, it's delusion, right? Because there's no kind of, you have to create it, like it's in your mind. It's like exists there, right? It's not, doesn't exist in a real world, and you just kind of like following that, following that like belief that you have, and at some point it just materializes like in the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be delusional. You have to be. And people will tell you that, oh, be realistic. Like, those numbers are crazy. Like, you really think you can do those numbers and all this? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I could do it. What are you telling me? Yeah, and I may seem crazy now, so what? Just watch and it will happen. And yeah, I never am realistic. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever realistic. Like, I get asked this all the time. There's nothing to me to be, unless I'm like dealing with someone or something, you know, and I see something happen. But other than that, in terms of like my faith and my dreams, my goals, I'll never be realistic. You know, because what's real? Like, someone could have told Steve, hey, this iPhone could never do anything. It could never be anything popular. And then now look, it's something that everyone has in their home.
And many people said, right, like there's like, yeah, it's many of the things that were created by people who's like, everyone said like it's a stupid idea, like it's, why why would you do it?
Yeah.
And then, and now, yeah, like we talked about, it's now we get to get to use all of these things because someone had this like crazy idea and just pursued it and just made it into reality.
Right, exactly. And that's where it starts. It just starts with it starts with the mind, it starts in the head. Like, you bring something from the unknown to the known, or from the darkness to the light, whatever you want to call it. But it starts in your head, and then you keep believing it, you keep believing it. I think the belief and the faith, that's the vehicle that brings it from your head into the real world. And you just have to have a lot of it. Just have to have a lot of it, because there are going to be things that are thrown at you. There's going to be obstacles. There are going to be people in your way. And it's just like, if you just have this impregnable faith, like, you know, that everything will work out, that you just stay absolutely positive and you believe it. Because I think even like you told me your story, you didn't really have too much. You left the job and down to your last couple of dollars. But that thing that you had was that belief in yourself that regardless, I go broke and I'll still make it, like, it doesn't matter. That's just who I am at the core of it, at the core level. So that's just it. You just need it. You need it. That's an important ingredient to success. I think, like, I look at success like a big pot of soup, and like belief is like the stew that you have to keep pouring in. The more belief you have, whether it's from yourself or from friends, from family, keep pouring it in, is this a big explosion of success. It's a big old soup that everyone can drink from eventually. Yeah.
What would be like, I know it's probably hard to summarize for you, but what would be like one piece of advice for anyone who's, let's say working 9 to 5 job and like looking for that transition? Because what I see from a lot of people is that they might be working 9 to 5 job and, they're making some money, some make good money, but it's that's it, right? That's such a, like, there's not a lot of growth that they can experience. They cannot truly like experience freedom in their lives. and they want to do something else. They want to do something else that would give them that vehicle to achieve, the freedom. But they're like, kind of like afraid to take those like risks, right? Like kind of like, put a danger like everything that they have built so far. Like, what would be your advice to those people?
Um, yeah, I think my advice would be first to really just work on your mind. And like I said, the way that I found the best way to do it is through the meditation and reading this book, Three Magic Words. To really work on your mind, to see yourself succeeding first before it happens. And then once you work on your mind, once you feel confident and psychologically ready to do it, then just go. Don't think about it, because those moves that scare you the most, those are the moves that will move the needle forward. And those are the moves that will take you to the next level. Like if it's worrying you, if it's like something in your belly, but you know you should do it, but it's just this, I'm kind of scared. Do it. Like, don't think, like, take the leap, jump. And it's gonna be a little scary, but trust that everything will work out. Like you really have to believe that it will work out, and it will. And even sometimes give yourself no option. Like I said, I moved out of my house to force myself to like figure this out. So sometimes if you're a little comfortable, give yourself, maybe even leave the job. It seems a little crazy, but sometimes you have to do some crazy stuff and just go into it and have ultimate faith and do it. And kids, you can just believe that you can and you will. In a sense, just believe, just have that faith, trust yourself enough, trust that you'll figure it out, trust that everything will work out for you, and it will. It is going to be a little scary, it's going to be a little bumpy, like a roller coaster, but like I said, if you trust that it will work, it will. And what other option do you have? I mean, you can stay in this job and you can have an okay life, you can have a good life, quote unquote, but is this really what you want? Inside if you really want something more, but it's going to take more. It's going to take more from you. And once you're able to bring that about, then you'll be able to do it. So that's it. Don't be afraid. Do it. Work on your mind, and believe, and just believe. Have an ultimate belief in yourself and in your ability, and you'll be able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that fire, it's kind of like you kind of like, yeah, you go on Instagram, everyone has like perfect like picture of their life, and everyone's like, and then people like, oh yeah, it would be awesome to have this kind of life, right? And they have this like little like fire, inside of
Hmm.
them. But then, you can either amplify that fire and create this like desire and faith, as you said, to
Yeah.
make it happen, or you can like suppress that fire, like,
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's good, it would be nice to have that kind of freedom, either financial, location freedom, time freedom, but it's like, yeah, but I have other like commitments, I have family, I have, like 20 other things that, like, oh, it's, yeah, maybe later, and
Yeah.
then it's later,
Later.
and then it's later, and
Yeah.
then it's later, and then it's like, oh, maybe it's next year, and maybe it's like New Year resolution, and maybe it's like, and then it's like
Yeah.
five
No.
years went by.
Right. And the fire has died down, and the belief isn't there as much. That's why when you feel it and you know it, just go. Don't think too much. When you have that feeling to jump, do it. When it scares you, do it. And just go into it, and it will work. It will work. You just believe it, and get away from those people around you who are saying it can't work. I don't care if it's your kid. Like, I don't care if it's your mother. Like, just you got to stay away from this a little bit while I'm doing this work, because it has to. And I have to pour not only my intellect but my energy and the positive. I have to give it all, that I can, and then that's how it will work. Yeah, I truly just believe that if you believe in yourself, ultimately, it will happen for you. Yeah.
And it's like what you just shared about, like, so you moved from your city to Philadelphia, and it's just like, you told me that, and I'm not thinking Topi, who's doing VSL calls in ESS. I mean, he's originally from Finland, and we had an interview. We'll be posting it on YouTube probably within the next few weeks. We had a tremendous conversation. He's from Finland, and he also has the same kind of like past, right? He was working like different jobs, and then he wanted to create better life for himself, for his family, get more freedom, and he started with e-commerce, like started to get some like some initial traction, and but he had all the circle of people, he had the family, had friends back in Finland, and then he decided just like to move to a totally like new environment. So he moved to Poland. He knew no one in Poland. He had no friends. He had like no one. He just like locked himself in the room,
Yeah.
and he started building. And he went from like last I think last year he was doing like 60 like $60,000 per month like in sales. Now like last month he finished at like 2 million.
Yeah.
And it just like decided to cut it. Okay, I have my past, I have my priorities, I have to just focus on this, because if I take care of this, like, then everything else, everything else will sort itself out.
Yeah, Toby he's great. I just started working with him. I met with him in Budapest as well. He told me a little bit about his story also. He's awesome. But yeah, it even inspired me as well, because I heard his story, and then what he did to get to that point. How he said like, oh, every day he blocked out like 4 to 5 hours a day or 6 hours just to write copies. I was just like, okay, this guy is like, this is what is necessary. One thing I realized that when I was in Budapest is like, oh, all the entrepreneurs who were doing crazy numbers, I was like, what is your secret? They were just like, oh, you have to just do the hard stuff. Like the obstacle is the way. It's like you have to lock yourself in a room. You have to do the work that you're avoiding. There's no way around it. You have to just do it. And that's the work that's where the magic that you're looking for is in the work that you're avoiding. So that's where it will, once you do that work, once you lock in and focus, then you'll be able to go. But sometimes it takes a little bit of isolation. It takes, a little focus, and but the results will speak for themselves eventually if you're able to do that.
Yeah, it's not some kind of like magic like AI tool that like will build your business for you, or like some kind of like one nitty gritty like tactic that will just like make you like a millionaire overnight. It's just that consistent, sometimes boring work that you do on a day-to-day basis that builds business. And every successful business is like, if you look at any kind of like part of it, it's like they've been doing the same things consistently year over year, like making improvements, gradually like innovating and creating something new. But it's the same thing. They keep grinding and keep doing the same thing year over year.
Yeah, the repetition, that's where the magic happens in day-to-day, mundane, almost just showing up every day. Like I said, the coaches do it, you do it for yourself, you do it for your business. Just show up every day. There will be those ups and downs, but if you can stay consistent throughout it, you'll be good, and it'll get easier. In the beginning, you're gonna, like all this people, start, is gonna be a little hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was like a little hard in the beginning, but as you keep showing up every day, it gets easier and easier and easier, to the point that it's just like the weight of the world feels like nothing at this point, because you've gotten so much stronger. You've done the reps and everything like that. Like you're in the gym and stuff. You just keep showing up every day, getting better, learning. And then eventually you'll just be, looking around like, oh crap, like I'm here. Like I'm here exactly where I said I wanted to be. So yeah, that's it. It's crazy, man. Oh, I can't hear you, Alex. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no. What would you say to someone who's on the fence of joining like BBA or ESS?
Oh, I would say do it. I would say if you're on the fence about it, it's because you need to do it. But do it. It's worth every penny. It's worth the investment. You'll make the money back 10 times over. Yeah, man. It's just, you'll go faster. It's not even just like, I mean, everything you learn is important, but even the other aspect of it, like I think Merrick talked about it, the networking aspect, meeting people who are doing better, who can give you different ideas, and you can bounce other ideas off of, and you guys can just learn and grow and even compete a little bit. It's just all necessary. It's all necessary. So you want to be around that environment. You want to be around those people, and it's worth every dime. It's worth every dime.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for your trust, and for following through. And I'm looking forward to. Did you hit 100K a month already or not yet?
Yes, I did last month.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. The first month, it's crazy. The first month I did 10K, then the second month I did 40K, and then the last month, Sorry, no, third month I did 105K. Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Next stop is 1 million a month, man.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna take it there, definitely.
My man. And then we have another conversation.
Okay.
In person. I'll fly to Philadelphia.
Thank you.
My man.
I'd love to have you here. I'd love to have you.
So thank you so much. I mean, so many great insights. I think, yeah, for people watching, like I would just recommend to rewatch it. We should have replay here because there's so many things that you drop that like just so fundamental and so important and so crucial for anyone who wants a better life for themselves and have that like initial kind of like inception that they wanted, but then kind of like building that faith and building that fire inside of them to just go after it. You can't just have like purely faith and not follow it through with action, right? So it's like you have the faith and convince yourself, and then like you said, don't overthink, just go after it and figure out along the way, because like no one knows like all of the answers up front. Like all the businesses that started are successful, like they didn't know like the answers up front, but the more you go, the more you figure it out, the more you learn, the more you connect with like-minded people that have answers to the problems that you have. It's just everything works itself out. And I appreciate you for the trust that you put in us. I appreciate you for the work that you did. And I'm looking forward to seeing it 1 million months, man.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for everything, Alex. Looking forward to learning from you, personally, and just continuing to grow and expand and help the world as much as possible.
Awesome, man. Thank you everyone for watching. Yeah, guys, I highly recommend to rewatch this one. This is gold here. And thank you, man. And I'll see you at 1 million months.
All right, sounds good, man. Talk to you soon.